This instrument is used to test the cold crank for our finished goods as well as base oils. The instrument itself is run via computer terminal with software, the main components of the instrument, and a chiller. So in order to run, the first thing you do is make sure that the chiller is turned on, and you have to hold the button in for just a minute. Then you should hear the chiller activate. It's usually, if it's been off, it'll usually be about the ambient room temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. It needs to come down to between 5 and 6 degrees before you can actually run an experiment. The sample prep, whether it's base oil or finished product, is to take one of the sample bottles, clean sample bottle, and fill without making any bubbles up to the little neckline. Don't overfill, don't underfill, or you won't have enough sample to be sucked up into the instrument. Then it's simply placed in the position so that the sampler can come down and not strike the edge. So you just kind of center it for it to be sampled. So the chiller is actually at temp, so we can go ahead and put in the data. So over at the computer terminal, we log in. The password is CCS. And it's going to pull up into a screen to sample ID. This happens to be a 5W30 blend ID 072518-289, which is its blend ID number. Now the prompt will come up as to which temperature, depending on what analysis you're doing. 0W20 is at minus 35. All our 5W products are at minus 30. 10W30s and other products would be at minus 25. And then the 1540s are at minus 20. So since this is a 5W30, we'll select minus 30. Okay. And confirm that the chiller is in fact at the proper temperature between 5 and 6, and it is. We'll hit the run button. It is evacuating the line to clear it. That is a normal pumping, sucking sound that you should hear. Then a prompt will appear to remind you to lower the injection tube into the sample. Once that is done, then you will come over and press OK, and then that sends the signal for the analysis to start. So in order to do that safely, you simply unlock by twist turning to the left the little stop mechanism, gently slide it down, and it will come to a resting position into the sample cell. Then you come back and click OK, indicating that you have lowered it into the sample cell. Inside is the spindle that is obviously rotating. The instrument's engaged. It will begin sucking up sample and going through the entire test protocol, which is programmed in via the computer. It goes through an equilibration stage before testing at that temperature that is specified. It will, at the end of test, calculate the cold crank. The results will actually be presented in a viscosity, which is listed on our C of A's as a CPS value, a centipoise. To conclude the analysis of the 5W30 that we were looking at on procedure, you'll know the sample is done when it presents on the screen. It's going to give an output. It's going to give the ID number, the test temperature, it's going to actually give you the value of the test speed that then is converted into an output of centipoise, or in this case, millipascals seconds. Same equivalent unit. So we've run this sample actually twice this morning and had a range from 5125 to 5025. That's 5,000. We're well below our requirement for this method on this product is 66,000 centipoise at the temperature of -30. So that is normal variation from sample to sample within this instrument's operating procedure. So now to turn everything off and to prepare for the next sample or to shut down the instrument, you simply lift carefully, don't allow it to drop, and then screw it back into a tight position to hold. Remove the sample cup, and because we could have dripping or a little bit of oil left over that might drip out from gravitational flow, we put a waste cup there. The sample that's left, that's a good indication because we know no air was sucked up into the sample cell, so you should always have a little sample left, and that amount can vary. This will then go over to the oil disposal and for the glassware to be cleaned. The last thing we do is we hold the button in to turn off the chiller. And so now it is in a resting off position. It still has its power button on, but it's just left in an off position and not functioning as a chiller. And that is the end of the analysis.